Hey you, welcome to the subject. Whether it's nighttime, daytime, or evening, you are viewing this one, I hope you're doing okay. And I hope you are continually be watching this all throughout and yun lang. Shik. Well, Lecture 1, Definition and History. Let's discuss what is the definition of forensic ballistics. First, we need to separate the two. So what's the meaning of forensic? Sabi sa definition, it's an adjective referring to formal eloquence or consequently formal discussion. More broadly, the word forensic has come almost synonymous with the word legal. So keyword there is formal discussion and legal. So if you combine the two, or anong naisip nyo pag yung word is formal discussion or legal, di ba? It mostly is related to the court. And sa court, dun is may formal discussion, di ba? At yung legal matters ang pinag-uusapan dun. So, in forensic, it is mostly related to the court. Ano yung dapat na legal procedures. So that is for forensic. Ballistics naman, pero meron pang mga definition dito. Greek or European word forum, meaning a marketplace where people gathered for public disputation or public discussion, or means debatable, argumentation in relation to the court of justice. So that is the etymology of forensic. It came from the Greek or European word forum, which means a marketplace noon. Pero ngayon na is actually nasa korte na yan. So ano naman ang ballistics? So in general, or in its broadest sense, is defined as the science that deals with the study of motion of projectiles. So which means that it studies yung mga object na ipapaputok actually. So for example, yung ammunition, yung bullet, mga ganun. So pag napapaputok yan, ballistics yan. So it study ano kayang motion ng, for example, bullet kapag nasa loob ng baril. Alam niyo ba na nag-i-spin yan dahil may rifling yung baril, which we will discuss this terms in the future. So yun. So when we combine the two, forensic ballistics derived to indicate the science of moving projectile or the science of investigation and identification of firearms and ammunition used in crime. So ito. So when we combine the two, what is the study of parang ganito. It is the study of yung mga bullet, yung mga firearm, wherein how will it be used as evidence to prove that naiputok yung bullet sa firearm na to. For example, to identify yung mga tao na nagpaputok nito, kung ano yung murder weapon, and etc. So it combines the forensic, which is sinabi natin related to court, yung ballistics, yung pag-study kung paano naiputok yung bullet, kung saan naiputok, kaninong firearm, at it will be used as evidence. So that's for the definitions. To furthermore understand what is forensic ballistics, let's look at the application. So in application of forensic ballistics, may 4 yan. Or actually, marami pa yan, pero 4 lang yung pinuha natin. So the collection, the analyzing, studying, and evaluating of the projectile. So sabi dito, collection of all physical evidence at the crime scene, such as fired cartridges, wads, bullets or shots, firearm, clothes and deceased, and accused. All related sa ballistics is i-collect natin from the crime scene. So ano yung possible na mga evidences which relates to ballistic na pwede natin kunin? Sabi dito, fired cartridges. Cartridges is a part of an ammunition. So, cartridges are parang the body of the ammunition. It is where it stores the gunpowder, the bullet, and etc. etc. Wads, meron yung especially sa shotgun na may plastic na bagay, or sometimes nung unang panahon is paper actually. Bullets. Did you know that a bullet is just the tip of the ammunition? Or shots. Ito yung parang bullet ng shotgun. And etc. and etc. So, in forensic ballistic, we will know how to collect them properly. So that it will not be contaminated. Analyzing the physical evidence collected. So how will we know kung naiputok yung bullet sa firearm A, for example? So we will analyze yung mga stria or markings niya. So, ayun. And next is the studying details. So, same is true with analyzing. We will see the different stria or markings. Marami actually mga markings. Tulad ng firing pin impressions, lance and grooves, and etc. We will study that. We will know kung how will we apply that. And analyzing and evaluating the projectile wounds, the impact of projectile, and the fate of the projectile after hitting the target. So if for example may namatay na tao dyan, we will see the entrance and the exit wound, kung to locate where did the perpetrator fired the gun, for example, or if we could find out if it's suicide or not. So ganun, we will evaluate the projectile. So ganun lang ang application, and marami pa actually. Presentation yan sa korte, ano yung mga types ng etc. etc. So we will discuss that in the future. So we will now go to the timeline of the first use of ballistic. So maraming mga dates dito, 1935 to 1929 up to 1936. So in 1835, may ginawang forensic examination, or actually bullet fingerprinting ni Henry Goddard. Henry Goddard, binulet fingerprinting niya. So alam niyo naman yung fingerprinting, di ba? Pero they will through the impression ng fingerprint, they will find out kung kanino yung fingerprint na yun. So same is true with the bullet fingerprinting used by Henry Goddard. He find out that hindi lahat ng impression sa bullet makakapareho. So it is that individuality will identify a certain firearm. So may unique feature yung mga firearm na yun, na hindi pare-parehas yung impression na nailalagay nila sa bullet na yun. So that is for Henry Goddard. Regina and Richardson. So one of the cases of firearm examination naman. And they connected yung mga evidences na nakarecover nila ng ballistic evidence. Specifically, WAD. WAD is a part of the projectile. Kasi noon, 1860s nga. Alam niyo yung L-gun, wherein they use the gun. Linalagay muna nila yung gunpowder, then WAD, yung paper, to separate yung gunpowder and the projectile. At naglalagay sila ng ball, tapos ginaganon nila at pinuputok nila. Noon, ganun yun. So parang through the WAD, they have known na ito yung ginamit nila. Nung pumunta sila sa suspect's house, nakita nila na magkapares yung WAD na ginamit na recover nila sa crime scene sa bahay ng suspect. Noong 1902, Oliver Wendell used a magnifying glass to examine a test bullet. So si Oliver Wendell he used the magnifying glass para i-study yung mga marking sa bullet. And in 1907 naman is they have examined yung mga bullets na finire nung sa riot sa Texas Brownsville. So they have found out na 39 shots was fired. And this 39 shots was, yung 11 shot na to is, it was fired from one firearm, 8 ata fired from another firearm. So ayun yung nangyari sa Texas. So parang yung nangyari kasi is, you can see it in the internet na may riot, tapos gumulo sila, tapos napilitang mag-open fire yung US cavalry ata, basta government versus rioters. And in 1912, Professor Balthazar took numerous photographs of the circumferences of the bullet found at the crime scene and enlarged them. So if you have finished your photography, forensic photography, meron yung tinatawag nilang photo micrograph. Yung ginagawa dito is, ginawa ni Professor Balthazar is, pinicture niya lahat yung mga opening ng gun, and in-enlarge na siya, and he found out na may lance end, may yung pinicture niya yung mga rifling ng firearm, and ayun, he enlarged them. And also, syempre sa bullet din actually, he pictured the circumference of the bullet and then enlarged them, and may mga nakita siyang mga markings on the sides of the bullet. It's Professor Balthazar. And in 1915, Charles Tillow acquittal through the examination of Charles E. Waite and microscopy expert Dr. Max Poser. So Charles Tillow was he was a suspect in a killing, and may hindi klaro yung evidence, pero parang sinasabi nila na siya yung gumawa, pero through the examination yung ginamit niyang firearm sa firearm niya, hindi siya nag-match. Na yung investigator dito noon is Charles E. Waite and Max Poser. So actually you can read this in our module para to see the details, pero yun yung nangyari na 1915. And in 1923, a paper was published in the Annales de Medicine Legal by De Rector and Mage, which discussed the merit of using firing impression. So the more the year is passing, maraming nadi-discover. So ngayon naman is fingerprint impression. So that is mga impression ng lance and grooves, tapos ngayon naman is fingerprint impressions. In 1929, first significant application of microscope was in the investigation of the St. Valentine's Massacre. So as the years goes by, technology is also improving. So ngayon is na-invent yung microscope, and they have applied it in forensic ballistics. So yun. And actually, it is one of the birth or mga yung parang genesis ng bullet comparison microscope, na yung side by side na may microscope dito, may microscope din doon sa right side and sa left side. And in 1925, the first made of comparison microscope, which enabled the simultaneous viewing of magnified images of two bullets or cartridges cases for forensic comparison purposes. Later on, I will reveal kung sino yung parang papakanan na gumawa ng comparison microscope. Sabi ko nga, as the years go by, the technology is improving. So ngayon, 1925 yun, na-enable na yung comparison microscope. So ito yung, they will compare in a juxtaposition, parang side by side position, yung fired bullet, for example, and yung test bullet. Test bullet yung saan nila pinutok yung parang testing na bullet, and yung fired bullet is yung nakita nila sa crime scene, kung nag-match ba And in 1932, Hees and Mesger and Haslacher rectified the use of breech face marking. Breech face markings are markings that is caused by the breech face. The breech face is a part, it is where, it's a part of the firearm, it is where the ammunition is stored before the uh, firing pin will strike the primer. Ayan. And FBI laboratory was established. Goddard got to train its first firearm identification professional. And in 1936, Calvin Goddard attributes Philip Gravel for the invention of the comparison microscope. So, si Philip Gravel ang papakanan ng let's now go to the important dates and personalities. Parang inisa-isa ko yung mga importanteng tao sa mausoleum niyo. Actually, marami pa. Pero, nilagay ko lang yung parang importante para sa akin. So, yung mga nung unang panahon, nung wala pang manufacturing, wala pang mass manufacturing ng mga guns, sino yung gumagawa ng mga guns? Edi yung mga gunsmith. So, barrels and bullets, molds were handmade before the manufacture. So, ang unang panahon, may sari-sariling trademark yung mga gunsmith, may sari-sariling style. So, halos yung mga firearm nila can be identified. And Henry Goddard, ito yung tsura niya, successfully identified a murderer by using a bullet recovered from the body of the victim at autopsy. Ito yung sinabi ko kanina. One of the first individuals to recognize the potential of firearms evidence as an aid in identifying criminals involved. And Oliver Wendell Holmes used the magnifying glass, examined a test bullet that he fired into a cotton wool to compare its striation or markings with those found on the bullet recovered from the victim during an autopsy. So, ang ginawa niya, may na-recover siyang bullet. Sa autopsy, siguro nakita nila na may adating na bating na bullet jay body the victim, and then may nakita, parang may suspect nila na itong tao na to is siya yung pumatay, at kinuha nila yung firearm nila. They test the firearm and and Oliver Wendell Holmes compared it through the use of magnifying glass. And Victor Balthazar, ang ganda ng pangalan, no? Took numerous photographs of the circumference of the barrel and enlarged them for identification. Or through photomicrograph, he compared yung mga circumference ng barrel and also the bullet. And what do you find in yung markings ng mga barrel? Edi mga lance and grooves markings. Charles E. Waite, investigator of the Stilo case. Stilo, di ba, siya yung na-acquit dahil through the initiative of Charles E. Waite. He cataloged the manufacturing data on guns and ammunition, local and foreign. Siya pa man, he lists down all the gunsmith, the manufacturer of yung mga different guns sa Amerika. Kasi nga, how will you identify without a basis? So, siya yung gumawa ng basis. So, for example, parang may na-recover silang firearm. They determine yung model niya, kung kanino manufactured. So, kung may listahan ka, dito, yung ganitong firearm na na-recover is ginagawa dito sa place na to. So, they can trace. Pumunta sila sa kung saan ginagawa yung gun na yun, and they will see if who purchased those guns, and they will detect kung sino. Dr. Max Poser. So, he produced, together with Charles E. Waite, siya yung investigator, Charles E. Waite. Max Poser is the microscopy expert. So, he produced multiple patents. He was a renowned expert in microscopy and made contribution in the fields as varied as microscopic stereoscopy, industrial safety and firearm, and microscopy expert in the Stilo case. So, expert siya sa science ng microscope, getting the small details of a small evidence. So Dr. A. L. Hall published article in 1900s about the effect that bullet fired through different makes and types of weapon of the same caliber were impressed with rifling marks of varying types. Also, Director and Maggie discussed the merits of using firing pin impressions for the identification of the weapons used. So as I read it, actually you can understand. Pierre Medlinger, last slide, mentioned the reproduction of minute irregularities in a breech face on the soft breast of American primer. So, Pierre Medlinger, basta pag Pierre Medlinger, breech face markings sa brass ng American primer. Primer is a part of ammunition where it is the one responsible for initiating the fire of the gunpowder. So, parang siyang gunpowder ng gunpowder. Hess, Metzger, and Hasselager rectified this via the publication of an immense amount of data in volume 89 of the Archivic for Criminology entitled Determination of the Type of Pistols Employed from an Examination of Fired Bullets and Shells. So, they double down on the legitimacy of breech face marking by publishing a science article. And Philip Gravel first realized its use in the forensic comparison of stria on bullets and cartridges. Siya yung responsible, di ba, ng comparison microscope bullet comparison microscope rin. Bullet comparison microscope is parang yung parts na is dalawang microscope, pero yung anong tawag doon, where you see the microscope has only two peeping hole, where you could, on the left side you could see the other bullet, on the right side you can see the other bullet. So you could check it on the internet. Spencer Lens Company manufactured the first commercial comparison microscope. So, in order to supplement yung mga sinabi ko, you can actually see or Google it in the internet. Thank you for listening and have a great day.